Welcome to episode 2 of the Ohio VolleyTalk podcast, where we will give you the latest on the volleyball games and Ohio boys volleyball through divisions 1 and 2. Today we have special guest, coach of St. Edward's, Coach Patty Thoma.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
All right. So, obviously, you guys are off to a very hot start so far, and we just wanted to ask, like, what has allowed you to really uh, get you guys off to this hot start?
Thanks. Yeah, we're doing quite well this season. I think for us, our biggest thing is we have some really good senior leaders this year. We have Ian Williams, Calvin, Polence, Jabari Babb, and TJ May, all seniors in our starting lineup, and they're all super tall and can jump super high. So that's really been helping a ton for us. And then we also have a phenomenal defense, and I'm a defensive first coach. So starting with the block and then everything lining up behind it, we really focus on our defense. The team that can keep the ball off the floor is going to win. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah, I was a defensive specialist myself, so I could see where you're coming from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how have those seniors really helped with like the leadership of the team?
Yeah. So they're leading the team. Calvin leads the team with a hitting percentage of 388. He's a middle hitter, and these four actually they can play anywhere in the front row. And then Jabari is a defensive specialist that is now setting for us. But he also is a hitter now for us too. So he has a huge role in this whole season. He's leading the team obviously in assists, but his attack is phenomenal as well. And what's fun is they all have crazy verticals, and that really helps with our block as well.
Yeah, Coach, you guys, like Nick said, you guys have started off hot, but is this, a season for you guys where you guys knew you were this good coming into it and you're proving it to everyone else, or is it kind of like, wow, we're this good, let's keep this on a roll?
We knew how good we think we should be this year, but I don't think as many teams knew what we had. My big thing too is my starting seven all play club or have played club, and that has been a big focus of mine, building this team from when they were freshmen. When I entered at St. Ed's coaching, we only had 3 players that played club in the whole program. And every single one of the varsity now plays club, or has played club. I think for me, it's not necessarily what club you play for, it's off season getting touches. Even if you don't have the means to play club, and I know it's expensive and some people can't afford it, or for other reasons can't do the travel, getting touches on the ball in the off season, go play in a rec league if that's what you can do, or go play beach in the summer, do something like that. And so when you come back to high school ball, you're that far ahead. And for these guys, they've all bought into that. And like Ian Williams and Calvin, and TJ never played volleyball before they started at Ed's. Calvin started as a sophomore playing, and now he's leading the team. And it's all about buying into that off-season stuff. It really is, in my opinion. We knew how good we could be this year if we came together and played as a team. And that's another thing that we're still working to get that, flow going and seeing what our lineup will look like. Because if you watch these boys play, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see any of the clips, they're exciting. It's exciting to watch. It really is. And as a coach, I'm like, even watching them, like Ian can fly through the air. So he's 6'3" with a 36.2 vertical. So he touches 11.4. Seeing him jump, he just skies, and it's fun to watch.
And is that everyone playing club, has that been nice to see like the culture shift from when you started to now? Is it like tangible on the team?
Oh, for sure. For sure. And not only is it like the culture shift, but it's also knowing how to win. We've had very, very talented players in the past, but we just didn't know how to win. That last step of what does it take to be that great team to learn how to win. That every play counts. You can't take a break in the middle of a set and be like, take a break. I'm going to let this ball fall that I know I could get, but I'm not going to give 100%. No, that's not how you win. Every single point counts in every single play. And I think the boys have finally figured that out. And that's what we're on the back of our warm-ups. We have the saying, they don't know. And everybody's like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? To us, we know what we've been through as a program and this off season, what we've done, and we've had some ups and downs in the off season of players. Are they going to play? Are they not going to play? Some coaching shifts. And so we know what we can do, but that's what our back of our shirts say.
All right. So you guys obviously are looking to keep up the hot streak you guys are going on right now. So like with that being said, what's the main goal for you guys this year?
It's funny you asked that because I actually had this conversation with the boys on Friday. What are your goals? What do you want to see this team do? And our goal is to be a state contending team. Because to be state champion, you need the talent, you need the plays, you need winning games, but it also is slight luck of the draw and the brackets and who you're playing against. But we want to be state contending. So for us, that means, playing every game as, okay, we're here to show that we belong here, that we belong on, the top 10 or wherever we fall, we belong. And I think in the past, we've had the talent, but we just haven't had that fight, that grind to show people, yeah, we belong here.
Yeah, and you guys contended pretty well with Hudson. Obviously, you guys lost that, but I saw a quote from you. You said that they didn't necessarily beat you. You guys beat yourselves.
100%.
Was that your biggest takeaway from that match? What did you guys as a team walk away with from that?
We walked away with, we made the mistakes. They played a cleaner game than we did. And if we just clean up our game, we'll be hard to beat because we outscored them, but we gave away too many points as well. And we're really working hard to make that our focus. Play a clean game. And that doesn't mean like our boys like to bounce the ball. All boys love to bounce the ball, right? But in out of system, you have to know when you can take that swing and when you need to do something different with it. And we're really working on that.
And you got another match with St. Ignatius this weekend, and they lost to Dublin Jerome over the weekend, but they still are probably the heavy favorites to win right now. Is this a big measuring test for you guys? Is this see how far you've progressed and how far you've come in the last few years?
For sure. It's always a big test for us against Ignatius. I mean, it's a huge game. Like we get the most fans on those days, and that is great, but it's also more pressure on the boys. And it's okay, guys, take this as, like we said before, every match counts. And this is just another match. We need to go in there with the hope and the drive to win this game. However, don't get caught up in the hype and the fans and all that. Do your job. That's huge. I say it all the time. Just do your job in every single play. Because every player has a job. And like, if you're an off blocker, you have a job. You can't take that for granted. So yeah, we're excited for Ignatius game, and I'm sure they are too.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a fun one to watch. But do you think that between the not getting caught up and like the fans being there for the Ignatius match or the smaller mistakes against Hudson, are those your biggest focus right now? Just clearing out the noise and focusing on yourself as a team?
Absolutely. We can't look at other teams, and yes, we watch film, and yes, we see their tendencies and all that stuff. But if we play our game, we're going to be hard to beat against anyone. These boys have so much talent, and their volleyball IQ is so much higher than any other team I've ever coached here at Eds. I think that's what we need as well. Like I said, knowing when to take the swing, knowing when to take the shot, roll shot, cut shot, whatever you need to do to get the point. You don't have to bounce a ball. You can put it in a corner and still get that point. So I think that's what we're focusing on, cleaning up our game for sure.
Yeah, and like going along with that, Ignatius game coming up was this week. They have this a big player in Jack Ragan. Just how do you guys plan to kind of slow him down?
Like I said, play our game. We're a big blocking team, like I said, and all the way across the front. We don't have a weak link across the front at all. So just focusing on our game. Yeah, he's a big attack. He's going to get some good shots. Okay, great. Make him earn the points. Don't give him the points. And that's something else we're really focusing on, making the other team earn their points. Great, they had a great hit. Fantastic. Even clap for them. I don't care. Now let's focus on what we need to do to make our game better. Because it's going to happen. Teams are going to get good hits. Great. Now we need to figure out how to adjust our block to take that away. So yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how our block does in changing his game as well. Because I don't think he's come up against a block as big as ours yet. I know that Thomas Worthington, they did a good job blocking that team. So I'm not sure how many blocks they had, but it looked like they had a bunch. So yeah, I think just playing our game and making sure we have a strong block up and our defense behind him. I think we'll be all right. I'm excited.
Yeah, just with my experience as a player and just like watching games over the years, I've noticed that the teams who are able to control the net tend to win the game, and I think that's basically what you're saying there. Just getting blocks up, like not letting Jack get these free shots. Like that's one key to success. What are some other like keys to success? Not necessarily for this particular game, but just for like the rest of the season goes. Like what are kind of the keys to success for you guys?
Yeah. So for us, it's passing into slot so we can run our offense. We have big hitters and we have some really nice plays. But against Hudson specifically, we were passing to the 10-foot line. We can't run our offense at the 10-foot line. So making sure our passes are in slot all the time as much as possible and being in system, we're really hard to beat when we're in system. So that's a big part of our game and what we're going to be focusing on. Also serve receive for us. Like I said, if we can serve receive into slot, run our plays straight out of the serve, and get the points back, that's going to be huge for us and what we're focusing on a lot. We did have an injury to our libero that played against Hudson. I did not know this and he didn't tell me, but he was injured while he was playing. So he was slower than typically he usually is. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, now he's in a boot. He's out for 2 to 3 weeks. However, we have another player. I don't know if you know Zach Libertowski, but he is now our libero for the time being, and he's phenomenal. So I'm not worried. It just happened that for personal reasons, he wasn't able to play in the beginning, and now he's back. So it just seamlessly moved in. So our defense is, I think, defensively against Hudson, we were not the team that we typically are. And I didn't know why, but now I do. My libero's in a boot. And so I think we're going to show everyone on Tuesday just how defensively good we are. It's fun because Zach plays for the club next. He's the lib there. And then we have the rest of our back row have been liberos on other teams. So it's really fun to have a whole back row of liberos that can just fly around. And as a defensive specialist, you don't get the credit. You don't get the
Yes.
accolades. But I see it, and I really do. I hold that big for our team. I cheer the defense just as much as the big hit. I just wanted to say another huge part of our offense is Max Rudinov. He is phenomenal all around. He plays back row and front row, and his attack from the back row is ridiculously good. I haven't seen a great back row attack. He finds the seams, can hit shots, and is a huge part of our offense. So we're really excited that Max has a full season with us this year, and his serves they're ridiculous. If you can't move quickly in serve receive, it's very hard to get the ball up. So it's super fast and a hard topspin. And we haven't had a topspin serve in a while at St. Ed's. So it's really fun to see. And he really rounds out our offense. He leads a team, I think, with 107 kills. And we've only had 7 games. So um, that is a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did want to make sure that we shouted out Max because right now he's one of our biggest hitters. And he's only 6'1", but he can jump.
Unless you have any more questions, Nick, I think that's all we had for today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for the interview. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking to our coach and being the first one of the year. I'm excited for your guys' season coming up. I think this could be a really good season for you guys.
Thanks. Me too. I'm excited too.
All right, now let's talk about some games across the state over the last week. It was pretty action packed. The season has really started to pick up. Nick, what's one of the games that stood out to you this week?
Yeah, I mean the one that like really caught my eye was the Ignatius and Dublin Jerome game. Ignatius dropping their first game of the year in a 5-set thriller to Dublin Jerome, and it was really just I mean the main guys for Ignatius like Jack had really good games, 32 kills, and it just wasn't enough. Dublin Jerome just simply outperformed them.
Yeah, and Jerome I mean, they just started playing their games a few days ago. They've had matches against obviously Ignatius, St. Charles, Beaver Creek, undefeated right now, 3-0. So, I mean, there's not really a bigger test that they can hit than a 5-set match against Ignatius. And, they're jumping onto the radar quick. There's someone that clearly can beat anyone. And for Ignatius, maybe it's a little bit of a wake up call from, hey, you can't just cruise this season. And you really got to lock in. It's not going to be an easy year. There are teams across the state that are looking to challenge them, that can challenge them, and obviously can beat them. So I think that, like you said, is probably the most obvious game. But another one, I mean, conference play has started across the state. Uh, I don't know if there's a more intense conference than the GCL every year. Very competitive. And we saw that with the Moeller reverse sweep on Elder, right? You said you were watching, Nick. I was watching too. Elder went up 2-0, and we both were like, wow, they really seemed like they got their number, but Moeller just fought back. That's the mark of a great team, and they're definitely someone to watch out for in Cincinnati.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was really that really caught my eye. Obviously, just any reverse sweep in any game is really impressive, and especially that it was in front of the home crowd at Moeller. I think that just made it a lot more special. But some great games but just a great game overall by the Crusaders.
Yeah, they've got a very talented team. Cincinnati may be the toughest region to come out of any year, so they've got their work cut out for them. And I'm excited to see how they go through the rest of GCL play. Both of these teams, because clearly it's a fight between them right now. Moeller, just like Elder and Cincinnati St. X, suffered a loss to Louisville St. X. So the GCL's winless against Louisville St. X. So you can't really pick out, say one is going to be dominant over the other in this conference. And I'm excited to see who wins it. But another Cincinnati match, another undefeated team, Loveland, quite a few wins this week. They're up to 7-0 now with a win over reigning back-to-back state champs McNick.
Yeah, and I mean, even though McNick did lose a lot of their seniors last year, they're not a team that you can just kind of cruise by, but Loveland really just kind of cruised by them. I mean, off to a really good start, 7-0, like you said, and it's just a really good win for Loveland.
Yeah, I mean they're taking down teams that really last year that took down. I mean this year they took down Mount Vernon, Firestone, McNick are the last three games, along with the win over Fenwick earlier in the year. They've dropped one set the entire year, and it was to the reigning state champs McNick. And you look at the rest of their schedule, and they've got Elder right at the end. That's going to be probably their toughest test. The rest of these games, I wouldn't be shocked if they went through the season one or two losses. If they get the best of Elder, they have a great game and Elder has a down game. they could realistically walk into the playoffs undefeated. I would be shocked with how they're playing right now if any team in Cincinnati, maybe even the state, looks goes on a better run than this 7-0 start for them.
Yeah, and I mean, like just like you said, they've only dropped one set all year. I'm just curious to see if they can keep that consistency up all year, because obviously you can have a hot start, but nobody really cares about the start unless you keep it up throughout the whole season. So I'm curious to see what happens in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, like you said, doesn't matter unless you hit the end. But that's the three games we really wanted to talk about this week. Obviously, we heard a little bit about the Hudson and St. Ed's and Ignatius St. Ed's a little bit from Coach, and those are both great games. Excuse me. We will see the St. Ignatius game this week. That's probably the game to watch for me personally. But there's going to be a lot of stuff, more conference play, more GCL ball, more CCL ball. Um, and those Olentangy schools always going at it. So that's what we had for you guys this week. Thank you for tuning in to season 4, episode 2 of Ohio Volley Talk. I'm Tyler Bush with my co-host Nicholas Glenn. We can't wait to see you guys next week.